Good morning. This is your remote learning day lesson for Thursday, November the 6th. This will be no more than 15 minutes. Okay, a couple things here just before we start. You have two items due Monday, the belief, value, or position discussion post, and then your pop culture talk topic. Okay, let's get into the content here. We'll start with guidelines, then move to rubric, and then your pop culture topics list, and then we will look at one quick lesson on what is an evaluation argument. Okay, let's start with the pop culture talk guidelines. This is your final major assignment for this is your final major assignment for the semester. So let's start here. Okay, looking at the guidelines now. Due dates at the top. For the final draft, that's of your presentation. The talk will be given on Teams, various dates you will choose from, and later to be posted to Google Doc. But the final draft for the PowerPoint file or your PDF, if you use another one, another program, is due on Monday, December 8th, 11:59 p.m. You can read the purpose later, but this is an evaluation argument assignment. Number 3 under skills. You're writing for a pop culture audience, meaning like if you're writing about gaming, if that's your topic, or your topic is under gaming. So think of gamers. If you're writing about pop music and whatever artist you're writing about, it'll be your audience will be music critics as well as fans of that artist or band. Okay, so knowledge, you can look at that later. Task. First thing you need to do is select a category and then select a topic under that. That is due on Monday. You'll see that on your calendar. I will approve or not approve your topic. It's very simple. You'll get a one-word response: approved or not approved. I have posted, in the third item today will be the evaluations topics list. So you don't have to choose from my list, to make that very clear. However, the list I think will help you think about what sort of topics align with this assignment. What would be approved, or what are good fits for this assignment. So look at that, and we'll look at that later. That'll be the third of 4 components in today's lesson. So secondly, after you choose your topic, you'll start creating a slideshow. You can use PowerPoint, Canva, or another program. Then you'll present the slideshow to me on Teams live, and you'll choose a time that's convenient for you in the Google Docs sign up that will be posted later in the semester. Note that this is not a formal research assignment, although you will be required to have 3 sources. Those sources are news and factual, timeline, that sort of information. So factual sources, historical sources. However, you're not required, nor do I want you to do in-text citations in the PowerPoint. You will do a works cited page, but as far as in the text, you do not need to cite, because all of your information will be either all of your sources, those 3 sources you choose, should be historical or factual, and that does not require an in-text citation. So an example of that would be the year Nintendo's original Super Mario Brothers was released. You don't need a citation for that. It's a fact. So other than this factual knowledge and historical knowledge that you research, and the sources that you use, those 3, and that's exactly 3 sources, no more, no less, you should rely heavily on your own knowledge and experience with the topic. So criteria for success: thesis statement should be on the second slide. Your first slide will be a title slide with a creative title and your name. Think of this as just your typical, you can do it how you want, but it just needs to have your name and the title of your presentation and some graphics. Hopefully you will be creative with it. I do not want to see all text PowerPoints. That should be self-explanatory. If you're doing a presentation, you need to have some graphics. That's really what a PowerPoint is for, not just all text. So criteria for success, continuing here, you provide logical support and reasoning. You show that you're creating with your audience in mind, people interested in your topic. Your slideshow and talk does not have grammatical, spelling, or typographical errors. Now, you do not need to type your content in the PowerPoint in complete sentences, as you should probably know by now. A presentation should be in bullet form. So not necessarily complete sentences, although maybe you have a few here or there. It does not need to be in paragraph form. Please do not write paragraphs in your presentation, and it should be bullet forms that are heavy on ideas, but they don't need to be complete sentences. However, the one exception to this is the first item here, your thesis statement. A thesis statement by definition is a complete sentence. But besides, other than that thesis statement, you're not required to write complete sentences the rest of the way. Again, your presentation file, your PowerPoint, or whatever you use should be in bullet form, not sentences, or definitely not paragraphs. But if you have a few complete sentences mixed in there, that's fine too. You meet the minimum for this, which is 9 to 12 slides, and then 8 to 10 minutes of total time for your talk. You give an engaging talk with me, your professor on Teams, MLA format not required. So that should be fun for you. You can choose your own font, style, effects, all that sort of thing. It's up to you. Just make sure I can read it, and it's not so funky of a font that I can't read it. But that should be fun for you. Use some creative energy with that, and customize it, build it how you wish. Works cited page is required. It will be the last page in your slideshow. It is a simple list of sources. Very simple. Name of source and the web link for that source. That's all you do. So you're not going to stress over that because it's simply just 2 items for each source. Name of the source and the link to that source. Then last item here, you will submit this through D2L as a PowerPoint or a PDF file, no linked documents. Okay, moving on to the rubric. So this is a standard for an A. You have a clearly written thesis on page 2 of your slideshow. No irrelevant filler. You stay on message. Moving on to analysis and content. So your whole slideshow basically connects to your thesis. It should support your central argument or thesis. You clearly identify and evaluate the topic. In other words, it's not so broad and vague that I don't know that you're trying to cover too much. This should be somewhat targeted. Like, I want to see that you've clearly identified some particular topic, and that you can evaluate the topic. You provide examples. I've got an example here of an example. Album sales if you are evaluating a band's best album. You provide brief background information, and you display your knowledge on the topic. You want to be particular and explain the why. That's really important. Give me the why of your argument. Not just that you believe something is the best. Well, why is it the best? You need to answer counter arguments. This just should be probably 1 slide. It's no more. I mean, I just want to see it one time that you address and answer those counter arguments in some way, at least once in your slideshow. Compare and contrast as needed. This is just a good strategy. I want to see you guys. I want to see everybody do this at least once, and it actually should be kind of woven throughout your presentation. So, like, if you're saying something is the best, essentially what that means is that it's better than the rest or the other alternatives. So, I have an example here. If you say LeBron James is the best player of all time, well, you should probably compare, with Michael Jordan. You could also compare with Kobe. You could do the same thing if you said Michael Jordan is the GOAT of all time. You would compare with LeBron James and Kobe. So that's just an example, but you need to do that because without that, you're really not addressing other alternatives or other counter arguments. But you need to do a compare and contrast. That is required. So don't just say something is the best. Tell me what's better than what. What are some other alternatives? Okay, it has a conclusion. That will be the final content slide, meaning the final slide before your works cited page. The conclusion should be more than summarizing your central arguments. Be creative. You'll use descriptive language, so avoid being vague in general. No first person is allowed in your slideshow. So in that file, in the slideshow itself, no first person. However, I'm freeing you up to use first person because I want this to be something you have a lot of experience with, and you can use first person in your talk, but not in the text of the slideshow itself. Okay, professionalism, 30 points. Length, again, 9 to 12 slides, 8 to 10 minute talks. A creative title. Remember here, though, this is a live talk with me on Teams. Recorded presentations are not allowed. So what you'll do is share your screen with me. You'll open your slideshow file, your PowerPoint or whatever, and then you open that on your device, on your computer. You will not be using your phones for this. It will not work without your phones. I will put that somewhere later on D2L, but that's not an option to use your phone for this. You must use a laptop. So otherwise, it's not going to work. And if you try that, I'm going to tell you to start over and get your laptop. So recorded presentations are not allowed. I want to be very clear on this. This is a live presentation, sharing your slideshow with me on Teams. A creative title, first page of slideshow, works cited page. 3 sources required. 3 required, no more, no less. 3. Simple list of sources. I've discussed that already. Very simple. Only a few major grammatical or sentence structure errors, few spelling errors or typos. Professionalism is evident. File format is a PowerPoint or PDF. You can use Canva or other programs, but if you do that, I need you to upload in the file box in D2L a PDF. If you use a PowerPoint, just upload your PowerPoint. No AI generated content. Okay, that's the last item on the rubric. Now, I will not spend much time on this because you can read it later, but basically what I've done here is to get you thinking about what sort of topics will work for this. And I have it categorized by music, film and television, art, design, sports, gaming, fashion and style, and food culture. Now, this does not cover every topic or every, category under pop culture. However, it covers a lot of it. So I would encourage you, if you're struggling with trying to identify a topic, read through this and you will see what sort of topics can work for this. I had a student in the summer, my summer term, that she did a evaluation argument of the best Toy Story movie in that Toy Story franchise. And I think they're like 7 or 8 now. They're a lot. So that's an example of something that could work. The Rocky series, there are, I think, 6 if you include the Creed series, the 2 of Creed. So there's 6, maybe 7 now. I think there might be a third of Rocky. Anyway, you would also, you do Rocky, like which of the Rocky films, which one is the best and most engaging for the audience. So I'm not going to go through all these, but I've got it categorized by large category music and then some these are actually topics like you could look at under each category. So spend some time on this. If you're struggling, I would actually encourage everybody to read it. You should look through this. It's just 1 page, but you can see what sort of topics will work for this evaluation argument pop culture talk. Okay, the last item today. This will be a very brief overview because it is in your lesson, your online lesson for this week anyway. It's in your week 12 folder. If you struggle with PowerPoint, let's start here. I've got a great link here that I've looked at this in the summer, and it's a wonderful template. A wonderful list of really how to get started in PowerPoint and what you should do. So it's a numbered list of 5 key best practices for PowerPoint. So use that to your advantage. And then the other item I want to look at, and this is the last item today, is the evaluation writing and overview. So what an evaluation essay, it does say essay. I realize that you're not writing an essay. However, the points in this are just as valid. So this is really good foundation for understanding what an evaluation argument is. This is a community college out of Arizona. It's a really solid overview, well laid out. So what is the purpose of evaluative write-up or an evaluation argument? So 5 points of an evaluation essay. You can think of this as 5 points for an evaluation presentation, slideshow. So what needs to be in your slideshow, and this goes through all that. And this matches with my rubric fairly well. And the structure here, this is again a structure for an essay. However, you can use this to help you create content for your slideshow. You do need evidence. It's important that you have evidence. Okay, this is probably one of the most important things in this lesson here on this page. You've got to have evidence. So cite album sales, cite critics' reviews of a film, for example, or percentage of users in the gaming universe that uses PlayStation versus Xbox, ranking sort of. Those rankings are really helpful, number of user rankings. So all of that is evidence, and so you need evidence in here. This is optional. If you want to outline your presentation, you can do that. This is a good way to do it. The only thing I don't want you to look at, and I'll say this for everyone in class again, but next week, I will remind you. This is not me. So key grading considerations, ignore that. All right, that is it for today. If you have any questions, please let me know by email, and hope you guys are doing well. Take care.